An Ontario man has been arrested after allegedly selling a food additive linked to at least 2 deaths.
Investigators are working in collaboration with multiple jurisdictions across Ontario, nationally and internationally, as we believe there could be more victims.
Kenneth Law is accused of shipping packages of sodium nitrite to about 40 countries. Doctors are warning that the substance has been increasingly used by people attempting suicide. Joining me now with more on this is Dr. Tyler Hickey, a forensic pathologist. Good morning to you. Good to have you in.
Thank you for having me.
So sodium nitrite is used as an additive in many processed foods in a safe way, though, right? In a safe way. So how does it become toxic?
Right. So I'm not familiar with it having any risk or harm when used appropriately in meat preservation.
These are like sandwich meats, right, that we've seen it?
Things like that, cured meats, yeah. The problem is if people ingest pure forms of this salt, and it seems to only take a few tablespoons, that can actually cause death very quickly.
That's it? A few tablespoons?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. So each year, about 4,000 Canadians die by suicide. Now, you've researched the trend around international sodium nitrite consumption in this country. What did you find? Yeah,
so my findings were limited to Ontario, but I did find prior to 2018, this was essentially a non-existent cause of death in our province. However, around 2018, 2019, I was part of a group that noticed a couple deaths from this cause, which was rare, and I thought interesting. And so over the next few years, I helped lead a study that followed whether this was increasing or just a rare event. And sure enough, between 2018 to 2020, we saw a real spike in these types of deaths in Ontario, and they continue today. And then further to that, in my research, I did find there's actually something of a secretive, if you will, but online support groups for people that promote suicide. And sure enough, this is one of the newer methods that is being promoted for people to end their life.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, because with these charges that I was just mentioning off the top there against Law, the suspect, they've yet to be proven in court. The case is putting a spotlight on the lack of regulation around the sale of sodium nitrite. So what are you hoping to see to hopefully address that?
Well, at the end of the day, I think these are preventable deaths. It is sad when people can access something relatively easily, where it's both legal to be sold and purchased, that can cause harm. And so if nothing else, I think it's worth a conversation as to whether these salts should be so accessible to the average Canadian.
You mentioned that you started to notice this in 2018. How did you figure that out? Were you testing for this specifically, or have you increased testing?
So in my line of work as a forensic pathologist, I do see a whole range of types of deaths just through my routine work. I tend to take notice when there's something uncommon, and I did have a case of this type of sodium nitrite death at that time, and so it piqued my awareness, and it was sort of from that I decided to keep track of whether there was more of these, and sure enough, we have seen more and more over the past few years.
Well, Dr. Hickey, we do appreciate you coming in and taking the time to talk about this
Thanks
morning.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, help is available. We've got a number up there on your screen right now. You can call and talk to somebody at the Suicide Canada hotline. That number is 1-833-456-4566. Doctor, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.